All right, listen up. If you are sending cold emails or thinking about it, please watch this so you don't get sued for $16,000. Seriously, my marketers out there, if you don't know the elements that you need to have in your cold email to stay out of cold email jail, so yes, this is a federal crime. You can get not only fined a lot of money, but go to jail. There have been insane fines of over $1 million. So please, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to watch this video to completion. At the end, I'm going to show you exactly how I set up my emails to include every single element so they know that I'm safe. But first, a quick story on how I actually became an expert in this. And I actually was sending cold email without these elements for a long time, and eventually got a very scary email from a very special lady who got very upset that she received a cold email from us. And she sent me this email that, I kid you not, made me poop my pants. And I'm going to show you this email right now. It is absolutely terrifying. All right, here's the email. I blanked out her name for respect. But essentially, she tagged Abuse, Google, Abuse, all of our ISPs, the one who hosts our domain. She was a lawyer. We were prospecting lawyers, and she deals in this and people who are breaking spam laws to get them fined, get them kicked off of their ISPs. So I received this email, and I kid you not, I pooped my pants. I sent it to my co-founder. I sent it to our email expert, along with the cold email that she was reporting. And that's when I really dug in. Man, I spent 100 hours watching videos, reading blogs, actual lawsuits that went through, talking to lawyers. So I'm going to take all of that knowledge that I accumulated that was mostly spent on nothing and condense it down into a very short, easy to understand video for you. All right, before we dive in, I'm Jay Feldman, founder of Otter Public Relations. We're a top 10 PR firm in the country with over 55 employees. I am only making these videos for one reason. I have spent six figures on my education, on marketing and B2B lead generation. I want you to apply everything that you learn here to build your company as big as you possibly can, and then hire my PR firm to do your PR, to protect your company, and to get you awesome media coverage in the mainstream media. All right, and let me tell you, I don't have any email services to sell you. I don't have any courses to sell you. I am leaving it all on the table for your benefit. You won't find that anywhere else on YouTube. And with that being said, if you do get value here, because I know you will, but don't do it right now. If you only get value, I want you to wait. And if you do, I want you to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and then click the bell notification so that you keep an edge over your competition. I bet they're not subscribed, and I drop gold on here. All right, let's dig right in. The CAN-SPAM Act, which is the legal name for the act that went through that protects consumers from receiving spam messages. As it might suggest in the name, CAN-SPAM, and this applies for emails, calls, texts, across a wide variety of communication methods. I'm going to talk about it as it pertains to you right now in cold email. But as the name suggests, yes, you can spam. You just have to do it correctly. And if you break these rules in the guidelines that I'm about to set forward, you can get fined a lot of money. Not only that, but if you don't get fined, you don't get sued, you can lose your access to your mail server, whether that be Yahoo, Gmail, HubSpot. You can get kicked off of your web hosting. So if you're hosting your website on GoDaddy or SiteGround, they can actually boot you off for breaking their terms of service. So this isn't something to glaze over. It's only a matter of time until you get reported or somebody catches on, and it's really easy to follow the rules as long as you know them. So again, follow this. You're going to get the Spark Notes, and you're never going to screw up again or ever. All right, first, some really common questions that I asked when this happened to me, and I went to lawyers with these questions. The first one was, lawyer, it wasn't me that sent these emails. It was this outreach company that we hired, or our marketing department. Are we still liable? Can we still get in trouble? The answer is yes. You're responsible for any vendor that you hire, any employee that works for you. You can still get sued, and you will still be responsible for paying that fine. You might say, Jay, well, I already set up a cousin domain that's not my actual domain. So how can they link those two domains together? How are they going to know it's me? If you have domain forwarding set up, as you probably should, so any secondary domain that you buy, when someone Googles it, it should go to your primary domain. That's one way that they can tie you together, but mostly the marketing message that you're sending should have something about your company in it. If it doesn't, then you're prospecting the wrong way. You need to tell them who you are and what you do. And if you're not, then you're really spamming and you're in big trouble. But typically, they know who's sending the email or what company is responsible. For example, we sent from a cousin domain. They automatically tracked that it was domain forwarding. It had our company name multiple times in the signature. It had our real So these are elements that you should have in your cold emails anyway. If you're not using them, you're making a mistake. So continue to use them. Just add these next 2 elements from my guidelines. That's going to help you stay protected forever. Another common question: who is actually suing you? Is it this annoyed lady who got a spam email? Is she going to go to the local police station and file a lawsuit against you for sending a spam email? No. Exactly what she did was probably what is going to happen. Somebody who knows the law is going to report you for spamming, and then the federal commissioner's office or the attorney general can actually initiate that lawsuit. Likely, the more times that she's hit with you by a repetitive email, the more times you're reported, the more likely chance that they're actually going to pursue a case against you. Also, assuming that you're a bigger company, they're probably going to pursue it because they're going to get more money out of you. All right, so that's enough Q&A. Let's dive into the actual law, look at this thing, and see what you have to do to comply with the CAN-SPAM Act in your cold emails. All right, team, let's dive in. The CAN-SPAM Act. I'm not going to bore you for reading the entire thing. If you want to, I will link it in the show notes here so you can dive into it. But I'm going to break this down so you don't have to sit here and read because it can be pretty tedious. So in your email, obviously it needs to be clear what you're selling. So if you can't say in the subject line, we have your mother, please open this email and respond to it, because that's very misleading and you will get in trouble for sending that email. It has to be clear that it's a marketing email, so from a company, stating it as what you do with a call to action. The subject line can't say anything alarming, and that stuff should be obvious, guys. If you're watching this, you're a marketer, don't do any Arabian Prince stuff or Nigerian Prince stuff. No scams. I want you to promise me you don't use the knowledge that you learn here to scam. Use it for good only. Do not use this information for evil. All right, so the first couple, no deceiving subject lines, blah, blah, blah. Identify your message as an advertisement. That's very unclear, and I've talked to a lot of people what that means. You do not have to say anywhere that this message is an ad. You do not have to say this is an ad. It does have to that one has room for interpretation. So as long as you're sending a reasonable marketing message, don't worry about that one. All right, tell your recipients where you're located. This is a big one. You need to have a valid postal address on all of your emails. Now, I'll give you a workaround. If you don't want to use your actual office or your home, you can buy a mailbox for like $7 per month anonymously. So if you don't want them to know your name or your company or who you're tied to, you can buy an anonymous post box and just put that on all of your emails. That will suffice just fine as long as it has an address. All right, number 2, and the most important thing of all, because this is what's going to get you into trouble if you don't do it. Include information about how to opt out. You should have an unsubscribe on all of your emails, a hyperlink that automatically takes them off and puts them into a do not contact again list. It's very easy to do with most email platforms. A lot of them will have it by default. Your CRM will have it by default, will also have an address so that you don't get in trouble. But a lot of cold email systems will not protect you. Make sure that you have an opt-out. If you don't want to use a link, you can say reply stop to opt out, and then you actually have to opt them out. So that's an option that people use. It is effective. You can say stop and then create a Zapier automation that will automatically put them into your do not contact list. That's something that you can definitely do. This is where you can get in trouble. If you don't actually take them out of your list in 10 days and you do hit them again, and this is somebody like this lady, now they have reason to pursue that you really didn't follow through with CAN-SPAM Act guidelines, and now you can get in serious trouble. So make sure they can unsubscribe. If they do unsubscribe, actually make sure that you don't email them again. It's simple enough. And last, if someone sends marketing emails for you, you are responsible for what they're sending. This is very important. All right, so keep these things in mind as you're creating your cold email campaigns, as you're hiring lead gen companies. They're responsible for you. Make sure you're auditing. Make sure that every email that you send has an unsubscribe link and an address. These are very easy, standard things to do. It's not going to affect your performance. Believe me, I've tried, I've tested. Not only that, but it's going to save you a lot of emotional stress if you ever have to deal with going through what we went through with this crazy lady reporting us. And likely nothing's going to come out of this if you're a first-time violator and maybe you forgot to put an address on an email. Some people get a little overboard, a little bit annoyed, but again, it's not the end of the world. Just it's easier to know this up front and to do this right the first time. All right, here's a cool article. I will drop it in the show notes, but essentially talks about the legality of spam emailing, and yeah, they say yes, it is legal. Here, it's a good resource to follow along. But anyways, let's dive into one of our email campaigns so that you can see how we actually set this up. And this is one that I didn't build, my team built, but they know now. So we have an address. It is our real address. Again, we have Otter PR right there. We have it here. If they want to find our address, they can go online and find our address. If you're working remotely, you don't have an office, you don't want them to know where your home is, maybe you're not registered yet, go buy a mailbox for $9 a month, $8 per month, private, so you don't have your information listed anywhere. You don't even need the mail from this. You just need to list something with a name on it. They will try and upsell you to forward you mail and stuff like that. But again, just know that this option is out there if you need to hide your address. Okay, let's get back into it. Talk about the elements that we have here. We've got our real address. Click here to unsubscribe. And most platforms will make it as simple as this. Check it out. More rich. Insert unsubscribe link. Boom. You just drop it right there. It hyperlinks it. Adds them automatically to a do not contact list. And then you're Gucci. Then you don't have to worry anymore. And people appreciate seeing this. We actually did a split test early on before we knew about this to see if having an address in your cold email would actually help you with deliverability. We don't know if it helps with deliverability, but we do know that it increases reply rates. Having an address has been proven to increase trust in your cold email. So regardless of the CAN-SPAM Act, you should have an address in your cold emails. And if you don't have one legitimately for your business, go and rent one online. It's $8 a month. That's going to pay for itself in like a flick of a second when we're talking about cold email and the value of what it can provide in return. So follow this very simple guidelines, include an unsubscribe link or a clever way to opt out, like reply stop, and we'll add you to a do not contact list with the Zapier automation, and make sure that you have an address. You can rent a mailbox online for $8 a month. Do it. It'll save you a lot of headache, a lot of emotional pain like we went through, and it'll save you from a $16,000 fine. You will end up emailing somebody who doesn't love you so much and doesn't love receiving spam emails or cold emails. So take the precautions, do this, and never have to worry about it again. Again, if you found value, please subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss another one. If you haven't already, please watch my videos on cold email marketing. It is a major series that I'm doing on here. I left nothing behind. There's no upsells. There's no additional information that you're going to need or want to purchase when you're done. You're going to be an actual expert, I promise you. So check the link below for the playlist for cold email. Watch all of those. Leave a comment and I'll respond personally. And send me a DM on Instagram if you want to chat, whether it be marketing or business, you want to collab on something. We'd love to hear from you. All right, thanks. If you enjoyed this, likes, subscribes, and see you in the next one.